So, good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to another album review of the Shield Dude on a Couch. I'm your host, Hector, and today we're going to talk about the brand new album by the band Blur, and it's called The Ballad of Darren. And this is their first album in 8 years. So, yeah, it's been a while since we have new Blur music. And for those of you that don't know Blur, they're one of the many famous bands from the 90s that gave birth to the famous Britpop movement along with Oasis. So Blur and Oasis were always at a battle. Growing up for me, I was more of an Oasis fan, but I've come to appreciate Blur more as I've gotten older. They had some great songs, like Coffee and TV. I love that song. I love, obviously, song number 2, the Woohoo! That's a great track. And, they had Park Life, Girls and Boys. So they were a very fun band. And Damon Albarn's vocals have always been great. Then they did Gorillaz. So I think they've been more preoccupied with Gorillaz. But now they come back to Blur. And I like Blur. And I think this record is a more mature sounding band. On this record, I kid you not, they channel David Bowie. It's like sometimes you think like David Bowie is actually singing on this record. It's so uncanny, especially the albums from him that are more like mellower, that type of Bowie. Other influences that I hear on this record is a lot of the Beatles as well, especially on the vocal harmonies that they have on the songs. So this is not a long album. It's 10 songs, 37 minutes. But the album, the lyrics are pretty interesting. I was trying to decipher them and read them because the album seems to be dealing with a lot of themes of like losing loved ones, maybe being with someone who loves themselves too much, and different things in life. And I think it's a very emotive record. The album starts with the ballad, and right off the gate they start, with some soft guitars, pianos, very beautiful melodies. So if you're expecting a more like rocking album, like this album is more mellower in affair. But they have some tracks that are more faster paced, like one of the singles that they released, St. Charles Square. That's a great track, and it's got like that bouncy Britpop type of feel to it, but more mellow. And it's a great track. I really enjoyed it. This one is more explicit, so it has some naughty words here and there. And I really thought that it was good because after like a song that's the ballad that's more like serene and mellower, you need something to pick you up a little bit. But you have tracks that are like more electronic and danceable, like Barbaric. I thought that was a great track. And again, the vocal melodies really work well on this track. This album is all about melody and feeling. You have songs with great pianos on it, like Russian Strings, The Everglades for Leonard. But my standout tracks would be The Narcissist and The Heights that finish the album. And I want to talk a little bit more about those tracks. So The Narcissist is a mid-tempo track. I was reading the lyrics and he's like, I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and you don't know if the protagonist, the person who's singing, is the narcissist, or is he talking about someone that he fell in love, but they're such a narcissist that they can only love themselves. So I think the lyrics are very cryptic and they're open to interpretation. So I may be wrong on this, but I think it's a great track, and I really like that it's a mid-paced track, and the chorus on this one is just so infectious and so beautiful that I just love it. But other tracks like Faraway Island and Avalon have more of that Beatle type of feeling to it with a little bit of Bowie, but there's a lot of David Bowie on this album. The last song on the record, The Heights, he's saying like, I'll see you at the heights. So it seems like he's talking about someone that has died and he's going to see them sometimes in the heights, so the heavens. So it's a metaphor. So when the person's gonna die and they're gonna see sometimes. So it's a very beautiful track to end the album. And it ends with a little bit more of distortion on guitars, and then it fades. So like the end of the song, I interpret it like the person who's singing is dying. So, and as the singer is dying and the distortion happens, it sounds like he's lifting and going straight up to heaven, and it ends the album on a very beautiful note. So in conclusion, this album is a very solid comeback from Blur. If you're expecting a more rocking and more upbeat album, this is not the record for you. But if you like introspective lyrics and very beautiful melodies, you will enjoy this record. I actually enjoyed it a lot. I think it's a great comeback for Blur and great rock album, you know, very beautiful album. So if you love classic rock like David Bowie, the Beatles, and obviously Blur when they're more at their mellow side, you will enjoy this record. So I want to know, what are your favorite tracks from Blur, The Ballad of Darren? Comment, I would want to know. And if you like the videos that I'm putting out, do not forget to give me a like and do not forget to subscribe. That helps me with the YouTube algorithm to get to more people like yourself. So until next time, this is Hector, the Shield Dude on a Couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you and good night.